The Telegraph this morning has written a most entertaining piece about Ed Miliband, and were it not for his bacon sandwich, I would talk about. I would title it so that pigs might fly. I would talk about. Really, it's the Telegraph's flights of fancy. But beginning with the headline. According to the Telegraph, Angela Rayner's tax arrangement, murky to some, in fact entirely legal, revived the prospect of Prime Minister Ed Miliband. Ed Miliband, yes, the man who famously wrestled a bacon sandwich in front of 1,000 lenses and lost. The man for whom photo opportunity was less an art form than a slow-motion pratfall. Now, this is not analysis, this is fantasy literature. If I were marking this as an undergraduate essay, I would write in the margin, engaging use of imagination, but please ground your speculation in evidence, and I would probably produce a grade C or something, gamma delta. Angela Rayner's problem is straightforward. She has too many homes. And is her main residence in Hove, Ashton-under-Lyne, Whitehall? One expects a monopoly board to appear with a tiny Rayner figurine perched precariously on 3 properties at once. And the Telegraph's reporters, however, then take a leap. If Rayner slips, Miliband soars. If pigs could fly, perhaps. But since we know Miliband's difficulties with bacon, we can only assume that airborne pork is not on the cards. What is actually happening here is a recycling of 2009's MP's expenses scandal. And then, too, MPs said it was all within the rules. Voters replies, yes, but it stinks. Rayner risks the same trap, not illegality, but perception. Yet perception of Rayner is a different thing from the coronation of Miliband. Reputational damage doesn't magically translate into an Ed Renaissance. And I like Ed Miliband. I remember Ed Miliband when he was much younger and he was called Ted Miliband. And we should allow a pause for reality check. Political succession is not a beauty contest where the last contestant standing wins by default. Rayner's messages and mishaps may bruise her. They may give Wes Streeting an extra sip of ambition at breakfast, but they don't vault Ed Miliband into number 10. Leadership is not conferred by accident. It is bestowed because it's not bestowed because the Daily Telegraph fancies a retro headline. There is, too, broader absurdity. Name recognition doesn't require ministerial glory, and it certainly doesn't transform past leaders into future prime ministers. Gordon Brown has name recognition. Liz Truss has name recognition. Name recognition, in fact, is often political kryptonite rather than destiny, but still, the story has its uses. It reminds us of the thinness of much Westminster speculation and how easily a narrative is spun from Rayner owns 3 properties to Ed Miliband for Prime Minister. It also inadvertently highlights why Reform UK and others are gaining traction, because ordinary people see journalists obsessing about property deeds while they themselves cannot afford a first flat, let alone a third. And so we end where we begin, with the bacon sandwich. If Ed Miliband really were destined for number 10, it wouldn't take Angela Rayner's seaside apartment to put him there. It would take something far greater, a suspension of political gravity, a triumph of second acts, and perhaps a national amnesia about the spectacle of lunch gone wrong. Until then, we can treat the Telegraph speculation for precisely what it is, the journalistic equivalent of pigs flying.